anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, "He was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned these alone." Epictetus. Good afternoon, everyone. This is just going to be my weekly update until it becomes a monthly update of me being on hormone replacement therapy. So let me just start off with the update. And let's see, here we go. Now, what I did with this is I am still on my diet. And there are some notes that I have, but I moved them over to the not safe for work notes tab. So it's basically a bigger area where I can actually put my notes down. And so, yeah, you can kind of show you a little bit more about the notes that I put of how I'm feeling, what I'm doing, what I'm adding, what I'm changing. So I started on the 16th of July. Today is now the 30th. I actually, before I said I wasn't going to change my dosage, but I decided to change it because I was on the very low end of the dosage spectrum, and I just wanted to see how my body would react to just the minimum dosage. And so far, my body's been reacting pretty good. So I decided to keep it here until I get my blood test on the 17th of October. So basically, people who are using injectables for their estrogen, it's going to be in milliliters, whatever syringe that you take. And generally, most people take 20 milligrams per every other week as the low dosage, or you can get it up to 40 milligrams every 2 weeks, or make it 20 milligrams per week. And that's all going to be based on what vial that you have. Sometimes it's 200 milligrams per 5 milliliters. Sometimes it's 100 milligrams per 5 milliliters. Sometimes it's 40 milligrams per milliliter. So you just have to make sure you do the calculations correctly. And if anyone ever has questions on how to calculate the dosage for that, just ask me in the comments. So I'm still taking the spironolactone at 50 milligrams, 0.5 milligrams. Wait. Yeah, sorry. Why did I put 0.50? I think it says 50 milligrams. I am an idiot. I may have to change that, huh? Yeah, I think that makes more sense. So total of 100 milligrams. I hate changing things like this, but bear with me, it's not a lot to change. Okay, yeah. So that makes more sense. And basically, you can see, I think from like a visual perspective, I'm just taking pictures every day just to see if there's any changes, and I don't really see any, and that's why I kind of increased the estrogen dosage. But as far as the effects that the anti-androgen, the spironolactone, has, I noticed that that seems to be working as far as like libido and not safe for work stuff, but all of that seems to be working as designed. The estrogen, of course, seems to take its time. Weight loss, I started before my hormone therapy at 179, and I am currently, after 2 weeks, 176.2. I've dipped down to 175 a couple of days ago on the 26th, but then it kind of went up and down, up again, and I think still a lot of that has to do with water weight, because you want to drink a lot of liquids, when, especially non-caffeinated liquids, when you're on spirulactone, because it's a diuretic. Okay, so this also the calories. I'm keeping track of the calories. As you can see here, not necessarily best. I'm trying to keep it at 1300. Sometimes I go over, sometimes I'm under or way under. And keeping track of my neck, chest, waist, hip, forearm, and wrist sizes. Interestingly, my neck size is dropping, which is good. I always had a thick neck. The chest went up to 42.85 and went back down. I don't know exactly what that was. Waist hasn't really changed much. It's fluctuated a little bit. Hip actually seems to have gotten smaller, but I wonder if that's just more of the weight loss. Forearms, definitely I'm feeling the muscles are more jelly. Like when I flex, right? I can't feel that strength. It feels like, man, I feel really weak. I feel like I'm Superman on kryptonite, right? It just feels I just feel very not very strong. The wrist has gotten a little bit smaller, and those are more indicative of weight loss, the forearm, wrist, as far as like the tape measurements. The only problem is the website that I had, which is Omni Calculator, measuring all of that, changed. They just changed all of a sudden. No longer have the same calculator, which is dumb. And I can't find any similar calculators, so I had to change the body fat calculators, and that measures more of the waist, hip, and I think the neck size. So it doesn't use the same measurements, but I just went ahead and changed it, and you can see just it doesn't make that much of a difference. It seems like I'm still trying to get to around, if I'm trying to get to lean body mass as male, it's around 135, and if it's a female, it's around 125 to 130. So we might see a big difference. I mean, last time I was this size was probably in 2007. Last time I was in this size was probably when I was high school. So that's just a lot of changes. Body mass index is getting better. Still overweight. I'm gonna have to work on that. And let's see, look at the notes. So just lethargy, if that's the correct word for it. Just a little bit tired. I've added just 1 tablespoon, actually 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, but I put in 2 drinks. If you're going to use that, use organic, and you want to mix it in to make some type of tonic. So you don't want to take it straight up. It's pretty acidic. It'll do not so good things to your esophagus and your throat and your stomach. So definitely dilute it in water, at least 8 ounces of water. I add in 1 or 2 teaspoons of honey. You can add in maple syrup, whatever, or sugar if you don't have any of those. But they recommend not to take it before bedtime, or if you are going to take it late at night, take it at least 30 minutes before bedtime. I usually take it about an hour or 2 before bedtime. And I also take it an hour after I finish eating something. So in the morning after I eat breakfast, I'll go ahead and drink it an hour later after that. And try not to eat anything while you're drinking it. So that's how I take it. It's supposed to help with weight loss, but we'll see. We won't really know. But I think 3 pounds, almost 3 pounds, or about 3 pounds, sometimes up to 4 pounds within 2 weeks isn't that bad. I think that's good. I think that's realistic. I see more changes in my weight loss than I do with the medication. And then here, you can just see the weekly. So once I get to this orange spot, I'm not going to have a weekly update. I'm just going to have a monthly update. So you'll be able to see it here, and then just get more details of that until the next next year. So that'll be interesting. So cultivating negative energy is my next one. And I think what's important to start off with is just kind of showing you how many people there are that they say there are in this world, which is 7.594 billion. Now, there's 86,400 seconds in a day. And if you really cared about what other people who you don't know or don't know you think about you, you'd have to spend every second of every day taking in almost 90,000 different people's opinion of you in every second. And that's just ridiculous. Even if anyone makes fun of you or whatever, most of the time, and I would say all the time, they don't know who you are. They know nothing about you. So I think a lot of people take that into a negative context, right? It's they make whatever some stranger or someone they don't know or someone on the internet comments negatively. The typical responses is, you know, they feel depressed. They just feel angry or scared, whatever. All that negative energy just kind of binds itself to you. And actually, what you should do is cultivate that and see the positive side to it. Epictetus, I think the quote of the day that I had, I think it was pretty being sarcastic in a way in which he responded. But it's also, it's not exactly that. It's also not like, remember that you're rubber, I'm rubber, you're glue. Everything you say, anything you say bounces off of me and sticks to you. That's just kind of, it's just bouncing off this energy that you can actually use for yourself and just have it gain yourself. It's like if people you cared about and people who knew you said something negative about you, most likely it's in a good way. It's in a way to get you. It's like a criticism, you know. Maybe it's like a positive criticism, even though it's negative. It's just something that you might work on if they're honest and you really reflect upon what they said and go, you know, I think they're right, rather than taking it badly or just lashing back at what they're saying. Just really contemplate. It's like, yeah, I guess maybe I should work on that, because they're the ones who really you let get to know you, and that they pretty much really know you. And then on the other hand, you've got strangers on the internet, trolls, whatever you want to call them. They don't know you and they call you something negative, and you're like, what you need to realize is, well, if some stranger that doesn't know me says something negative to me that no one else that does know me says, well, they're obviously wrong, and whatever I am talking about is obviously right, because they're going to say all these things, like ad hominem attacks. You'll see that a lot. Anytime you discuss a topic and you have certain questions and points, all that they'll do is attack you. And it's like, wow, that came out of nowhere. And use that as a indicator, as a good sign, is like you're going on the right track. Because rather than discuss some of your points that they feel is probably incorrect or something, and talking about that, they just immediately attack you. And it's the same thing with talking about transgender stuff, talking about controlled opposition, talking about flat Earth, globe Earth, talking about anything really. Once they start or the pandemic, COVID-19 is a big one now. Anytime you start talking about the questions that you have, the points that you can make about it, and all they do is just attack you, ridicule you, start using double speak, chastise you. You know, a lot of the stuff that politicians use and people who want you to fall in line, they usually go, you know, we do it for the children, and how dare you, right? It's like, well, I'm doing it for the children too. You just have that different reasoning as far as why you're doing it for the children. It's as though they take that stance, and that anyone who opposes them takes the opposite stance, that what they're doing isn't for children at all. And again, that's just another negative energy that they give. But if you stay positive, well, you're going to gain that negative energy. So rather than repelling it with more negative energy, and sometimes it can be draining, basically you just want to absorb that negative energy, and just it's a part of you. You gain from it. I mean, think about any video that I may make, and I start getting the ire of LGBTQ plus community. I get the ire of the MGTOW community. I get the ire of people who are against conspiracy theorists, or the scientific community, or religious community. All of a sudden I've got thousands, millions, billions of views, and I'm not stopping what I'm doing. I'm just continuing to speak, tell the truth, and just trying to guide people to see how these reactions don't really make any sense in the big scheme of things. And so it's a good thing. It's just like controlled opposition, where you're meant to view all these videos and really get invested, and all it does is siphon away your time and your energy and your money. Well, it's the exact same thing, except that negative energy is being directed onto you, rather than you directing your negative energy onto those things and giving them energy. Well, instead, the more negative energy that you receive is actually a good thing, especially when you're doing things for the correct reasons, in your own terms. That can be very relative. And there's the opposite side, right? Imagine, and I'll go back to this image of mine, right? Your consciousness, what your ego is, what the fear is, that's all based on other people. Now, when people give you a lot of praise, right, and it's not really critical praise, it's just praise because you're just saying something that they may just also think about or believe or whatever. All it does, if you don't watch out, is it just feeds your ego, especially if it's an ego. That ego is not your conscious self. It's just a false self, like a mask. It's just inflating that falseness that you perpetuate. So you also got to be aware of that false, not just, it may not be false praise, but just that praise that goes to your false self, which is your ego. So on the opposite though, if you are presenting your conscious self and that is your ego, and there's nothing that you hold back, so how you present is actually your true self, and other people can see that, then you can also take that positiveness, and it's fine, because it's not inflating a false ego. It's just you just are able to be self-conscious of what people are saying, that are starting to get to know you, that are more involved into getting to know you, where you may have even conversations where they want to get to know you and you want to get to know them. So that can be beneficial as well. But as far as just cultivating the negative energy, a lot of people let that negative energy affect them, and it stops their behavior. And there's a reason why negative energy works, in whether it's psychological, in a way that they want to use it, or if it's in some deeper esoteric way of using that negative energy to affect you. So don't let that affect you, and just know that you can absorb that negative energy into using it to harness your own energy to give back, right? It's just a transfer of energy. People will feed you a lot of negative energy. Well, take that energy in, make it positive, give positive energy out, and the world, other people benefit from it, rather than everyone not benefiting at all from all the negative energy that's being reflected back at everybody else. So just think of it in those terms. I know it can be very abstract and very conceptual, but just take it for what it is, really. Anyways, that's my second week on HRT. I'll do another stream like this next week, and then the week after, and after that it would be a month just on just this type of thing. But I just kind of wanted to put in two different little topics, I guess, in one. Anyways, have a good day.